Hi, I'm William, and this is Foil Driven. This week, I won't be doing any of the normal stuff, the clips. This is a review, and this is a review for the rig of the week, which is my new foil kit and board. Thanks to Unifoil, I love the gear I got. And I think if you saw the videos that are coming off this channel in the last, say, week, you'll understand why. It is, it's just been crazy, is the easiest way to put it. Transitioning from, the bigger Jimmy Lewis board down to these foils, these Evolution foils, strapped to a 30-liter Foil the World board. It has been so much fun, and it's like, I mean, I like that Jimmy Lewis board, don't get me wrong, but it's a little big, and this board is right sized, and the foils I got, both of them I can use both of them with this in flat water. So the 155, I weigh, we'll call it, 83 kilograms, something like that, and I'm gonna say 188 pounds of nothing but Oreo cookies this month. So it was getting me up, no problem. On the 155, boom. On the 205, just completely easy, both in flat water. And so I thought to myself, am I gonna use a 205? This 155 is so good, especially in the waves. We're gonna get to that. Let's start with my experiences. The first day out, I took the 205, and I thought, let me try this one first, because I was thinking my time is gonna be dominated by the 155 if I had these two foils. And so I went out and I rode it first, and I didn't have the setup right. Man, I have to push. I have a Takeoff FLOW, the Manta Takeoff FLOW, and when you use a flow or a foil drive, you have to push it back further than what's normal. And so these things were built with not this in mind, but you can accommodate, and that's what I did. Unifoil has some of the best shims I've ever seen. I went out and bought a toolkit and the stainless steel toolkit and got the shims. And so to tame this thing down, I had to push it all the way back. And I was still, man, my thigh was just going crazy, trying to hold that front end down. And the board, it was riding right at the edge, and I would swear half the time I was breaching in some of these waves. And if you saw some of the videos this week, you might see it. I was riding super high on these waves on a 205, and it wasn't like throwing me from the breaches. So it was hugging the top of the water. It was like stand put in the ground effect. And if I'd breach, it wasn't a deal killer either. It would just come out. It was pretty much no drama right out of it, unless I really pushed it hard. So, with all that said, I thought, okay, let me throw on the shim. So I got negative 1.5 shim, and I downsized to 155, and it's an amazing foil. It is. Both of these foils ride very similar. Unifoil wasn't. They weren't exaggerating when they say they kind of have the same feel, and it's a very particular feel, and I like it. It suits the kind of riding I do. I think if I want to shim for choppier water, so I don't get as much fallout when I'm pumping, I can do that. Give it a little bit more foot pressure, but on the normal, ride at 1.5 negative, and it rides perfect. They're just really nice riding foils, fast, but so much lift, and such a low stall speed for both of these foils. It's somewhat incredible. So all that said, let's set the 155 aside because I feel like that was an obvious one. It's a 1000 size wing that rides very, very well. I put it in the same class as, say, the Axis Art V2 999 or 939, somewhere in that range, but much lower stall speed, much higher lift. Maybe, I feel like they're almost as fast the way I have it set up with all that negative shim. There's not a whole lot of drag going through the water. It's a fun ride. So. What I do, I went to the flat water, and I was having problems landing with a 30-liter board with the 155. I wasn't riding out all of them, so I went to the flat water to practice with the 205, figuring a little bit more, say, cushion for my landings. And that was it, man. I went out and I figured out jumping with this 30-liter with that 205, and then I took it, a day or two later, and with the straps, I put the straps back on. I mean, large jumps in small waves. I was doing like grabs. If you've seen the video, I was doing nose grabs, grabbing the rear front hand on the rear rail. Front rail grabs. It was, I did a tail grab, 2 tail grabs, and I set a challenge for myself, 100 jumps in 30 days. And I got, 2 days ago, I was sitting at around 74. And this was 11 days in, and I went out with this 205. And during that session, I knocked out the last 26 jumps, and I really started wiring how to land. And using this big foil, I could feel the re-entry with that 205. It was sort of like training wheels, where when I was coming in, I could kind of figure out how to start, using my foil as soon as it touches the water, and ride out. And after that, it just, the landings clicked, man. They were one after the other. I did 63 jumps in that one session, one battery. I knocked out 63 jumps. So I got to 137 jumps total in 11 days. And if you want to learn something, set a goal of doing it 100 times, no matter. Look, in the beginning of this, I was still concerned about jumping and landing, and after doing 137 of them in a row in such a short period, the confidence has now just, I'm completely confident with my jumps. To the point now where I'm not focused on landing any longer. That's sort of now wired to flow state and muscle memory. So now I'm thinking about trying to get it higher, thinking about trying to land faster, selfie stick, camera placement, let's see if I can get a shot from below the board, that kind of stuff. And you're going to see it here. It's, it paid off. And it paid off. I was riding the 205 in somewhere between like knee high and a few maybe that went to chest, and it handled it all, no problem. It whips back and forth. That's a great foil. I expect that I will be going to this more often than not in the summertime when it gets pretty flat here. It can handle the bigger waves, but in the smaller waves, I can just really practice all sorts of, wing outs are easier because it's wider. I was pushing to like do, lip slides on the top of waves. This thing just, it breaches so well that, this kind of stuff, by the end of the summer, I'll definitely have a few new tricks from this 205. So I'm pretty stoked on that one. The 155, I think, is the same deal. It breaches well. It hugs the surface. It builds confidence really high on the foil where everything's efficient. And I don't want to sell this torque mass short because it is stiff, and the the cord from the front to the rear is super narrow, which means there's less drag, especially down towards where the foil is. So it's a fast foil, or a fast mast. It's stiff as I need it to be. I didn't have any problems with any sort of flex, not even jumping, and it's fast. I mean, and light. The thing is, when I was doing all these strapless ollies with the Jimmy Lewis, and my other kit, to go to this 30 liter with this setup, it felt like I wasn't even riding with the Takeoff below it. And Takeoff weighs a little bit more than a foil drive by a few pounds. It felt like I had nothing there. I was able to connect waves, pumping, no big deal. There's just, that setup is such a killer setup. Thank you so much, Unifoil, for sending me this thing, because this is probably, it's got to be my best setup so far, and I haven't even got to some of the spicy foils like the 115, which you can't buy right now because it's sold out everywhere. Even the 155 is just that's a great foil. So yeah, we could talk about technical on it. It's roughly, 10 aspect ratio, just under, but it handles like it gives you the sort of the performance of a high aspect ratio, like something that's a 10, but I swear it rides like a big foil, forgiving, and easy to turn. So this is a winner. If you get the toolkit comes with a couple Allen wrenches. It comes with these beautiful shims. All right, I think that's going to do it. I'm keeping this one rather short. I think I have another. I have another tail, but to pack all this stuff into 1 week, I think I'm going to do a back-to-back on which tail to use, because I have a progressive tail and I've got this Afterburner. The Afterburner looked faster, it looked a little bit higher aspect, so I went with that as my first choice. I'll do a tail shootout, which one I like better down the road. The torque mast, I think for what I ride, this is the one I picked. It's a good mixture between stiff ride and a little bit of speed, because it's lighter and more narrow, so there's less drag, less weight, and it just does the job very, very well. That's I would say maybe the best mast I've ridden for my riding. Your mileage may vary. I've got straps on the Foil the World board. It's 30 liters. It's super light. Well, it may not be super light. It's light from what I've been riding. The setup for it, I've got Paul Cooper's 1x1 straps on there. It is offset on the front and center line on the rear. I think I'm good with that. That seems to do pretty well. I'm used to a double center line, but this, I'm very comfortable riding like this. So great setup with the straps. Happy to be back on straps. I'd like to have another board that I could ride strapless, but I think for now, I got rid of the Jimmy Lewis. So I think I'm just going to be focusing on this Foil the World board for now, and I mean, I don't really need anything else. I mean, if I can get up with the 155 on a flat water, what do I need a larger board for? The reason I was riding the Jimmy Lewis is so I could get up on some of the foils that were making my ride a little bit nicer. But the 155 and even the 205 are both fun enough rides. I don't need a bigger board to try to figure that out. I'd rather have the small fun board. And so overall, I am super happy with Unifoil. If you're going to be attached, for the long term to a company, Unifoil was a great choice. I'm pretty stoked on that one. I got lucky, you know, for that. Thanks, Unifoil. So in closing, let's talk about who is this setup for, and in particular this setup. This setup, the 205 and the 155, matched to a torque and an afterburner with a takeoff on a 30 liter. That is performance, man. That is, and honestly, I think most people, because these foils are so easy, it's low stall speeds, gentle, forgiving, they don't drop out. I think just about anybody who's got a little bit, any intermediate rider wanting to move up, you could move to this setup, and I think you'd have, you know, very few problems if you're ready. Yeah, if you're a large person, I think either one of these foils do very well. You might have to upsize the board if you're, say, a intermediate or beginner foiler, but both of them, these are foils that could take you from, I think, the beginning all the way up to advanced levels. So who is it for? Just about anybody, I think. I think anybody with these two foils, you cannot go wrong. Overall, 10 out of 10. Man, I made some good choices with this one. So again, thanks, Unifoil. Look forward to anything else you want to send my way, because so far, I'm set, man. I could ride this and be happy. You know, it's perfect setup, and as you can see, I'm really enjoying it. So thanks to everybody for watching. And I know the you know, the true foilers are the ones that are watching to this point in this video. So for you, thanks, man. Take care until the next time.